You are listening to the Knotted Physio podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Resmondo, owner of South Alabama Physiotherapy and creator of the Knotted Physio, where life should be fun and light. This is the podcast where we talk about how to keep the active adult who's busy with work and family life fit and healthy to enjoy the Gulf Coast outdoors. Let's get into today's episode. Before we start today, I wanted to let you know about our free Facebook group, The Knotted Physio. I do live trainings in the group each week to dive deeper into strategies to remain active and where you can ask me questions personally and I'll give you feedback. Okay, on to the episode. Hey guys, welcome to the Knotted Physio podcast. I am your host, Jenny Resmondo. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today, I am answering another question from a listener. And this is one that we hear over and over and over again in the physical therapy world. So the question that I received from actually several people was, what is sciatica and what causes it and how can you treat it? So the long and short of it is the sciatic nerve is a nerve in our backs that starts in the low back area and runs all the way through our buttocks and down the back of our leg. And then it splits off in the midways of the legs and goes down all the way down to your foot through various other branches of the main nerve, which is the sciatic nerve. So I'm trying to go over this with you all today. And I want to use this. This is my first time actually trying this. I am recording this and I want to be able to share my iPad screen. So if you guys will bear with me, those of you who are listening, I will do my absolute best to be able to describe it to you, what I'm showing you. But you may actually want to tune in to the video portion so you can see exactly where we're talking about whenever it comes to the sciatic nerve. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And just bear with me while I do that, guys. And I so appreciate you all tuning in. So here it comes. It should be coming really soon. And we should be there. Perfect. Okay. So what you guys are seeing on the screen is actually using an anatomy app. I love using one of these apps. This particular one is from 3D4 Medical, and it's called Essential Anatomy. It's available to download on your app store, whether it is Apple or Android. It is still available, and you do have to pay a price for it, but it's pretty cool to be able to see it. So this is the human body with the skin off and all the intestines and all the organs out of the way. And right now I have several layers of muscles that are being shown on the screen. So what I want to do is just allow this to let you see kind of part of the problems that comes in whenever we're talking about the sciatic nerve. So I've got a few muscles on there. And then now I'm going to add in nerves, and that kind of made a big difference. It changed up quite a bit. So as you see on your screen, I'm going to zoom in as best as I can. Let me bring it back down. And the only bad thing about this with the screen share is I don't have a pointer. So you'll have to go along with me, but pretty darn close to the middle of the screen, you will see in the background the sacrum. And the sacrum is a triangular shaped bone that has holes in it. And that's basically your butt bone or your tailbone. If you will look, there is a big group of nerves to your left, to the left side of the screen. And if I do this exactly, it'll show up a brighter color yellow. So I'm going to touch that. And actually some words came on that, but that worked out really well. So it says the sciatic nerve, and that's on the right side, obviously, but you see that it came up yellow. And I tapped it again just so you can see exactly where I'm talking about. But if we look up, that this big bundle of nerves comes out of some of the low back, which is above that tailbone, and that's like L5. So L5 is the fifth lumbar vertebrae. I'm trying to change it back and forth so you could actually see on the screen that you're seeing the nerve roots that are coming out of the spine at the very end of the lumbar spine down into what we call the sciatic nerve. Okay, so now that you guys have seen that from the front side with all the intestines taken out, I'm going to actually turn the screen all the way around. Bear with me, bear with me. Here it is. And from the back side, it may make a little bit more sense, but I showed it to you from the front side first, so that way you would be able to appreciate where it comes from. It comes out of the low back and runs down deep inside through to where the butt muscles are. Now, the butt muscles really aren't on this picture that you're seeing on your screen, because I wanted you to see the sciatic nerve and to be able to understand a little bit about it. So the sciatic nerve, as you see on the screen, it's a big, big, big nerve. It is the biggest nerve in the human body. And you could kind of imagine it being like an outside or an exterior electrical cord, you know, the ones that are usually covered in orange and they're pretty darn thick. That is pretty much the same size as what the sciatic nerve actually looks like when you go through and see it in a human body. So that sciatic nerve that you're looking at on the screen that I just highlighted again, that is the culprit to what we call sciatica. And so another question that somebody had asked me is, well, if it's in my back or in my butt, why does my big toe hurt? Okay, so I'm going to go back out. I'm going to zoom this picture out so you can still see it. And you can see that I'm zooming out further and further and further and further and further out. But you will see that sciatic nerve, it goes down the back of the leg, and then somewhere close to the knee, it splits off into two different kinds, right? And then I'm bringing it up. And if you just follow some of these nerves all the way down, some of them branch off the back of the foot. And then if I turn the screen around, you'll see that it branches to the top of the foot. And let me see if I can rotate this all the way down to the big toes. So the sciatic nerve actually makes a big impact, and I'm trying to get it so it'll show. This right here, this is called the medial dorsal cutaneous nerve. You don't really need to know that from layman's terms, other than if you look at it, that's part of the reason why your big toe will hurt, because that your skin on that part of your toe is operated by that nerve, which derives all the way from the sciatic nerve. Okay, guys, so I want to show you one more kind of neat thing about it is when we have pain, and let me add one more layer of muscles on, and then I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see it. Me and my cool little toys added more muscles, one more muscle. Okay, so I just added several different layers thanks to this app, the Essential Anatomy app. It's amazing to be able to use. But what you see on your screen in the middle of the screen now is called the piriformis. How many of you guys have actually heard the piriformis muscle? It tends to be a major culprit whenever we have sciatic nerve issues. If you look on our screen, the sciatic nerve runs right underneath the piriformis muscle. And guess what? That piriformis muscle, when it goes down the back, goes down through your butt to the back of your leg, when you sit down on your little sit bones, what I call them, they're actually called the ischial tuberosities. But when you sit down on those little sit bones, the sciatic nerve is right there beside it. So I'm going to zoom in super, super close so you can see where that sciatic nerve comes in. That sciatic nerve lands right up against your pelvis or your sit bones, and that causes an excruciating amount of pain. And that's why it feels like when you have sciatica, it's running down the back of your leg. Your hamstrings, which are the muscle I'm highlighting now, that's just one of the hamstrings, but that muscle tends to get a little bit tight. So what is sciatica? That is what sciatica is. That's the sciatic nerve, and it's just an irritation of that nerve for whatever reason. You may have bent forward, you may have twisted, you may have sat too long. There's a number of reasons why the sciatic nerve could be a problem. But There is always solutions. There are stretches that could be helpful. It's just a matter of finding out what your body is going to respond to. I recommend reaching out to your healthcare professional, your physical therapist, your doctor, your chiropractor, somebody that's got knowledge of this area to be able to help you work your way through those issues. So if you have questions about what the sciatic nerve is, I hope that this really and truly answered it for you. And if it did not, please let me know. I'm taking it off of screen sharing. So I'm just letting you know what I'm doing just to get back on to the big screen with you guys. I want you to be able to answer to understand your body and why things hurt the way they do. Once you have a better understanding of how things work, why they're bothering you, how it all pieces together, you could start solving those mysteries to be able to live your life pain-free without limitations so that you could go out and do everything that you ever wanted to do, whether it's going out to garden, if it was going for a boat ride, fishing. Sometimes the sciatic nerve will absolutely cause havoc whenever you're trying to go fishing. So I hope you have found this helpful. Let me know your thoughts. Did I answer your questions? And for my listeners who asked this question, thank you for asking it. I bet you there are so many people out there that had no idea exactly what the sciatic nerve was and what it looks like. If you're listening to this podcast, find me on YouTube and watch the video just so you can have an image and see what all we were talking about on today's episode. Any questions, be sure to submit them to Jenny@salpt.com. And I will see you guys next time on the Knotted Physio podcast. Take care.